Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Live Authentically with Krista. I just want to make this video just to get my thoughts out. Sometimes I like to make videos because I don't really have a lot of people that show up for me in my life, and sometimes it's nice to get these thoughts out because I don't have a lot of people to talk to. Sometimes it's lonely being me. But I was watching a movie tonight, and I haven't watched a movie in a while. I was watching this movie, and this couple, they were married for like 11 years, and it was just showing, their journey and just like how much fighting they did, and how much it was just their life was kind of like blah. They came home, they sat on the screens, they didn't spend time together, and work got in the way of their relationship, and where there was distance between them. And then all of a sudden, his wife gets sick, gets pancreatic cancer, and on the day that she was going to go in to see the doctor, her husband wanted to tell her that he wanted to divorce her on that day. But once he found out that she had cancer, and the doctors were only giving her 2 months to live unless she got treatment, they went back home, and she decided she wanted to live an adventure. She didn't want to be stuck in a hospital. She wanted to go and have an adventure with her husband. So she quit her job, but he didn't, although he kind of made it like he did, but he didn't actually quit his job. And they ended up selling a bunch of stuff. They got an RV, and they just went out and went on the road together. And they did some pretty crazy things in this movie. It was really funny. They went to a farm, and it was a slaughter farm. And she pretended to be the student that wanted to learn about farming. And they went into this farm, and they basically, she did this crazy thing where she locked up the owner or whoever was in charge of that farm. She locked him up, and then her and her husband let out all of these animals. They let out all of these animals, so the chickens were let loose, the cow was let loose, and it was just so funny. And they ended up getting shot at. The husband got shot at, and then his wife was like, grab the chicken, grab the chicken. So he grabs the chicken, and then they're running back to their RV, and then they let the chicken be free. And she wanted to let these animals free because she felt like everyone should feel freedom at some point, just like feel free. And that's why she wanted to do it. But they were just going on all of these adventures together, and to build a connection too. And the one thing that she told her husband was the honeymoon it didn't feel like a honeymoon to her because they had been together since high school. So their honeymoon wasn't really a honeymoon to them. So he promised that from that moment on, that the remainder of their time was gonna be like a honeymoon. So he planned all of these really romantic times together, dinners, candlelight dinners, and just really sweet moments for her. And he ended up falling back in love with her. And she started getting sicker and taking this pain medication that was really hard on her liver, and she started, puking up blood and stuff. But anyways, to make a long story short, she ended up going to the hospital. She didn't want to go to the hospital. She didn't want to be stuck the whole time in the hospital. She wanted to have an adventure before she died. And her husband, went to the hospital, but actually before that, she had found out that he wanted to divorce her. She found out through looking at his phone that he wanted to divorce her, and she just really felt like a stupid woman, like he was lying to her the whole time, and all of these feelings, and that it was just all a lie. Like the honeymoon thing on their trip was just all a lie. But it wasn't a lie, because he actually was falling in love with his wife all over again, but he was afraid to admit it. He was afraid because he didn't want to lose her, so it was hard for him to be vulnerable because he didn't want to lose her. But he goes to the hospital and he wants to take her out for the day and to really tell her, I meant every word. I meant every word. I meant every adventure. I meant every candlelit dinner. I meant everything. And that he loved her. And it made me almost want to cry, because he was saying, like, I was so stupid for wasting all of this time when I could have loved you every day. He was just saying how much time he had wasted, and that he could have spent his days actually loving her, and just how selfish she was. And then they ended up, having their sweet little moment together, but then she ended up dying in his arms. But anyways, I don't know, that just really spoke volumes to me. And at the end of the movie, he ends up being this best man at a wedding, and he was telling them through the moments with his wife that don't ever let the honeymoon phase end. You got to keep that spark alive. You got to keep that spark alive. And it came alive for them because they went on an adventure. And that's what needs to happen in life. It's just like, you got to put away the screens. You got to make time. You got to go out on an adventure and create these moments together and keep that spark alive, Because social media, your phone, social media, the internet, that's not real life. Real life is what's inside your home. Real life is outside of work. Real life is, what's happening inside the home. And you got to create those moments and, not take each other for granted. Anyways, I just wanted to make this video, and I don't know, it really spoke a lot to me. And I've just been really thinking about how important it is, not to take anyone for granted, and to really appreciate the efforts that people give you, and for those who show up for you. Like, don't take anyone for granted, That's all I've got to say.